eye. I've cut down this paper, folded it back on itself, cleaned it off. I've already put a bit of foam in here. I've yet to go and do anything there. Loose edges of paper, which I'll stick back now. The foam, bring up the side here, you'll notice how neat the edge is there. Well, I've just removed a bit of foam here just to show you, and then just here, that line that runs all the way up, that'll be the edge of the board. This will just be a bit of plaster. When this was plastered over, it's just bridged the gap. So drywall, hard wall, brick wall. What should have happened here really before this was plastered is should have backfilled, taped and caulked the joint, corner tape. So this hasn't been done. Now we've got plaster and plaster, obviously paper as well. So quick repair is the foam. Now here also I've got a crack running across, so this corner piece is floating slightly, so there's a bit of a hole there and a small one there in the corner. So first of all, I'll remove this from here and then I can foam it, sort this out. Simply with the screwdriver, I'm just going to pop this out. Took out the plaster from up the corner there, that's a bit of foam there, and obviously it goes to the gap. Running all the way up, and then the board is just running in slightly, so there's not very much plaster to come out there, but notice how it's fractured. So there was a crack running across originally. So the board, this has been affected by a leak. So just looking at the blackening around, that's why the paper was loose around. And we had this crack here then, so that must have been it. So I need to sort this and then I can get some foaming. A piece of wood screwed into the good side of the board, piloted a hole and wound that screw in so it was just touching the board, drew it back a little bit more. Because that corner piece is floating now, still attached with paper behind, but generally it's floating. So with my scraper, get behind there and just draw that back into position. And then now I can screw that up. Just a bit of tape there to hold that scraper on. A little bit of water. Squirt of foam. Right, there we go. So obviously a little bit of plaster on top is possibly going to be a bit knackered, maybe not. Yeah, there's a little bit there. Well, that's okay. That's nice and solid there now. What I will do is where I put the screw, just open that up a little bit. I'll pop a little bit of foam in behind there. Secure it even further. So I might as well where these other two screws were. So I'll pop a little bit in there, and then we can start to get some filler in when that's dry. Remember, when you're using the foam, that it does expand quite a bit. So a can size will expand 30 times its size, that can. So a small spot, you won't need too much. The piece of wood that I took off from here, before I took that off, I removed the foam from around, just cleared out a bit of an area for some filler. Put the foam in these screw holes. I've already took the small snots off this one. So just there, pinch that off. Now I can start to fill this up. Further down the wall here, you can see where at some point in the past there's been another repair. So perhaps the leak has been there for a while, and maybe drier further down, but still it must have damaged the paper. So it's been patched up here. So because again it was all hollow, I've just popped a couple of holes, put some foam in, so that's made this more secure. So I won't have a problem filling this or that up there. Started backfilling. And what I want to do first of all is up here is start to fill into that ceiling first. Make sure you get some filler in, and then fill these edges. So I'll just go around and fill those perimeters first. That's generally the backfilling done, and I've got a damp cloth. I'm just going to wipe it down. That edge, just keep it clean like I've done there. So now I'll mix another batch, just a small amount. I'll finish off filling this over, making sure I don't come too far onto the paper, just keep it level for when I put this back in, because it is going back in. I am only touching up. Repaper this wall. Start building this up. A little bit more. Make sure that's worked in. Just smooth that off, leave it for probably half an hour, and I'll be able to go over that again. That's the filler in, built up to the level of the plaster, but I've not paid any attention to this yet, because when this paper goes on, I'll need to do some filling around these areas. So I've already done down here, so that's flush with the paper, and again this has already been repaired in the past. So again, it'll be all right. Overlap adhesive and a small fitch, and just Put plenty on the edge, ensuring that you just get a good amount along that edge there, using the bristle to put it down behind the paper, and then with a damp cloth, careful of the edge, but just try and work some of that adhesive down through the paper. And just back near the edge, come the other way. Just go round. Get this behind, then one-handed, you can apply this a bit easier. And then again with the brush, just work that in a little bit. And then again, with your cloth and fingers, just start to work that back a little bit. Small amount of ready mixed paste, and into that I'm just going to add a spot of PVA glue onto my brush. Down here I've had 2 warm rags sat on top of this paper. So I'll just check that that's not, if it's going to come off, I'm going to take it off. Yeah. So anything that's going to come now will come off. Paste the wall, and I can put this on, get that mixed up. Make sure that there's plenty of paste on, and I've just, when I've coated it up, just make sure you leave some on. Not going too far over, but I have worked round the edge. So again, I'll put a little bit on the paper, not too much. Make sure you spread it out this time. And just line it up and get it back on. Just leave that to dry. Before this is completely dry, it's only been left about half an hour, I'm just putting some filler into these joints. I've mixed some paint into this. So rubbing into that joint there, and then also into these edges and taking it underneath almost underneath the edge of that paper. And then with the damp cloth, not wiping over the joint, but just taking any excess off. Keep on going. And again up here, just clean off. No real need to sand. I've already filled up along this edge here, so that's okay. For now, a little bit more extra filling, but keep on going. Half an hour, I'll come back and start to fill in. Alternative, put some onto a small brush, and as you're putting it in, just rotate that, forcing filler underneath that edge. And with a clean blade again, dampened, I can just come back over that, just knocking back any edges and ready to just do any final touching up. A little bit more filling, just touching there, but generally that's not too bad considering what was going on down here as well. Building up in layers. I'll just get rid of that, and then what I can do with my cloth is, judging where the edge will be, I just want to remove any filler, and I can come back over with a filling knife. Just keep doing that till I get that level. So I want to be starting to come to something like this. Damp cloth and a small amount of water and a small brush. That is just to clean the bristle and just keep it wet. Final bit of filler has gone in. It's been in about 10 or 15 minutes and it's starting to go slightly, well, it's going off a little bit. So with the end of the brush, I've been following the original pattern in this paper. It's like a bark effect, and literally just scoring that. Yeah, so that's the joint that I filled before. You can just see a little bit there. So up in the corner, again, just following these, running up. When the end of the brush gets a bit dirty, wipe it on the cloth, just keep it clean. And then any sharper edges with the brush, just soften them back a little bit. Remember, this is going off. It shouldn't be too soft now. You're just removing those sharper edges that you've just created. And just gently, if the brush starts to leave marks in the filler, then it's a little bit soft yet. So just soften them back. Now when I paint this, I'll be able to touch it further if I need to. At that point then, this will be dry. I'll leave it till it gets dry. And I can address it with a little bit of sandpaper as well, very fine sandpaper. But literally I've just been following, and again it's all broken up. You can just add a little bit more in. With some paint, I've touched up all the way up that corner, bring it onto the paper a little bit. And the only bit I've not painted is just a little bit up at the top there. I have to paper this wall yet. Once that wall gets papered and dry, then I'll be able to paint the ceiling and then bring in the walls, touching up that corner if necessary. As soon as this is dry enough, I can start putting the first piece of paper on. The beauty with this is I can mark it with a pencil. Once this is trimmed, wipe away any excess paste. And we can get this on. Right, okay, so not too bad there now. Leave that to dry. I'll get it painted in the morning.